Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the very cold weather we do have that is still hanging on to us for the next few days. It is going to be turning a lot milder on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, with temperatures perhaps in the south getting as high as 10 to 14 degrees. So perhaps a 15-degree temperature climb in a matter of 2 days. However, as we'll see on the longer range, it's going to be turning a lot colder once again come the middle of next working week. So in around a week's time, the cold air is going to be flooding back southwards, at least dominating in northern England and parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland up towards Christmas, perhaps even quite widely as well, all dependent on the positioning of the jet stream, as we'll see in the second half of the video. So for some areas it could be 1 degree on Saturday, and by 13, 14 degrees on Sunday, similar on Monday, Tuesday. By Wednesday, Thursday, temperatures cooling back down to maybe 2 or 3 degrees. So huge up and down in temperatures coming. So yeah, we're going to be seeing big sways. So yeah, could be seeing a little bit of snow, icy conditions towards the end of this week into the weekend. Then very mild, very unsettled. And wet and windy for the early part of next week before turning a lot colder, with the potential for snow risk to return as we head towards the Christmas period. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, to start on the live radar, we still do have northerly winds coming in. They're not particularly strong, so we're only seeing snow showers really penetrate far inland in parts of northern Scotland and the far northeast coast. Here we are seeing a few centimetres of snow actually falling within these heavier showers towards the coast, but of course they're not coming far inland at all. So again, typical sort of coastal showers. Elsewhere it's extremely dry and sunny, and that allowed temperatures to plummet last night, with many areas waking up to temperatures around that -5 to maybe -10 region, and locally in some frost hollows we saw temperatures as low as -15, but I think we'd have to wait until maybe this afternoon or evening to see the lowest temperatures confirmed by the Met Office. But definitely some areas got into the minus teens last night, even into parts of England and Wales. So bitterly cold conditions last night with a severe frost, and temperatures today will hardly rise above freezing in many places, and other places more towards the coast might only rise to 1 or 2 degrees. It's another bitterly cold day, and of course we've got another 2 days of this before Sunday is when the milder air returns. Now, I record this around 11:30, and you can see the temperatures right now, many areas still towards freezing, those lighter blue colours, so bitterly cold conditions, still quite widely, and of course we saw some of these pinks and purples overnight with those temperatures drop down to maybe the -15 mark. So yeah, extremely cold conditions, as I said, will be diminishing over the next few days. If you look at the weather warnings, we do have snow and ice warning on the northeast coast. Again, we had a look at this in detail yesterday, and then we got another ice warning further southwards, but not a snow warning. Again, you can see high likelihood lower end of the impacts, maybe 15 to 20 centimetres over the higher ground of Scotland. Most other areas just a couple of centimetres to lower levels. And again, the snowfall is totting up quite a bit over the Scottish mountains, where it doesn't really melt at all. So yeah, again, there we could see the ski slopes potentially opening soon, as a lot of snow has fallen there in the last 2 weeks or so. If we look at Friday, we still have those snow and ice warnings, but slightly differently positioned. We've got a snow and ice warning across parts of Scotland, and again, perhaps 10 to 20 centimetres over 200 metres. Lowland areas 1 to 3 centimetres, but possibly 5 to 10 centimetres in a few areas. For some heavier showers moving in from the west as the flow changes to more of a westerly, but we're still embedded in colder air, so the precipitation will be falling as snow through tomorrow, but by Sunday that westerly will be bringing much milder conditions. And then of course we've got some snow and ice warnings across parts of northeast Scotland, again for snow showers pushing in 2 to 5 centimetres is possible. High likelihood lower end of the impact matrix. Now, if you go over to the UKV and have a look at what their precipitation and the temperature charts are showing over the course of the next 5 days or so, you can see all the showers pushing through at the moment. Really cold and unsettled in places, but elsewhere inland it's actually really dry and sunny. Cloud could drift in a little bit through eastern areas. Again, that could halt temperatures a little bit overnight, so mean they actually stay a little bit higher than last night. But again, all dependent on those cloud amounts. Again, it could not move in, or it could move in really quite thick. You can see towards northern areas through early hours, you see those heavier showers pushing in. Could be some very heavy snow there for a time as that moves in and just continues coming in from the west. But you can see how the change is taking place. Westerly winds coming in across the Republic of Ireland, all those showers now more to a wintry mix or rain through Friday evening as milder air starts to push in. Only slightly milder air initially, sort of 3 or 4 degrees, but mild enough to turn it back to rain before the real mild air comes in through Sunday. You can see through Saturday a few snow showers still around, but mostly through Saturday it's a generally drier day still for many areas, and it's still going to be quite cold. Through into Sunday, look at that big weather front pushing up from the southwest. Snow on its leading edge, could be some very heavy snow in places, so it could be difficult travelling conditions for a few hours, but that snow will turn to rain very quickly by Sunday afternoon. So Sunday morning you could actually wake up to a few centimetres of snow quite widely before turning back to rain by lunchtime. So a very transient snow event before all dissipating away and just turning to heavy showers through Monday. With a lot of heavy blustery showers around, pushing in from the west, but before you eventually see things start to turn a little bit drier as the wind starts to move back in from the north. You can see the low pressure there just out of the Atlantic. It's starting to push eastwards, and that's starting to bring air back in from the north and would start to give us much colder conditions once again. So if you go over to the upper air temperatures just to see that transition, you can see we are in very cold air for Saturday, -5, -6 degrees at 850 HPA, slightly more warmer than we have been recently, down towards -7 to -9, but it's still very cold. But look at Sunday, look at that 5 to 7 degree isotherm moves in, so around a 10 to 15 degree temperature rise all the way into Monday before you can see slightly cooler air does start to push in, and again that is signs of colder air pushing in from the north and the west come the middle of next week. But on the next temperatures, you can see earlier this morning those temperatures dropping widely down to -5 to -10, locally -15 again. Of course, these are high resolution, but not as high resolution as certain rural spots would need to capture their temperatures appropriately. So widespread towns and cities, -5 to -10, rural areas may be lower. As we head into Thursday afternoon, look at that, widely down towards freezing in many areas. So really cold day again today, and tonight still widely down towards that -5 to -10, especially in western areas. That cloud in the east, maybe only -1 or -2. So still very cold, just not quite as cold as last night. As we head into Friday afternoon, again, still around the freezing point for many areas. And then as we head into Saturday, probably the last widespread overnight frost for central and eastern areas, western areas starting to turn a little bit milder. As we head through Saturday afternoon, those temperatures are starting to rise, 3 or 4 degrees, maybe 5, 6 further west. And then as we head into Sunday, we wake up to a frost still in some areas in the east. And as that rain pushes in, snow initially, before turning all back to rain with much milder conditions pushing in, perhaps 10 to 13 degrees by around midnight. So midnight could be 10, 12 degrees, midday could be 1 or 2. So huge temperature change. And by Monday afternoon, look at that, 12, 13 degrees quite widely. And similar as we head into Tuesday, but of course starting to cool down as that milder air does wean away. So do now have a look at the GFS and see what that's doing over the course of the next couple of weeks. You can see the northerly wind coming in at the moment, but it's slowly getting cut off by a westerly, and you can see southwesterlies pushing in as we head towards early next week. But the block towards Greenland doesn't go anywhere. It just positions itself so the southwesterly is able to push in. But watch what happens towards the middle of next week. The winds veer to more of a northerly, and we go colder once again for the lead up to Christmas. And for Christmas Eve, a northerly wind, not a particularly cold block, sustained northerly wind, but northerly wind nonetheless. Snow showers down the east coast, and the high pressure builds in. So Boxing Day is going to be very cold and frosty from the GFS before trying to pull in easterly winds and try and get that high pressure further northwards. And right towards the last day of December, you can see the low pressure transitioning and moving towards Scandinavia, high pressure retrogressing towards Greenland, and could potentially be setting up another bitterly cold spell of weather. So here, Christmas wouldn't be cold and snowy. It would probably be cold. You wouldn't expect too much snow with a higher pressure here, but could be a few snow showers in places, but it would be very much a frosty, foggy, cold affair under the higher pressure. But again, this is one scenario. Other scenarios have different patterns, and then you shift that higher pressure a few hundred miles further westwards, and we're more into that colder air to our north and our east, with the lower pressure flow. Then we could be looking at a more extensive showers. But definitely the models have veered towards more of a colder scenario for the last week of December, including the Christmas period. So yeah, we'll have to see. If you do look at the GEM, see how that does compare. Again, very cold air in at the moment, northerly winds. Eventually that veers to more of a southwesterly, and you can see that northerly winds, as I said, come back in potentially towards the 22nd, 23rd. Again, the GEM is a bit more transient. High pressure building right up towards Christmas Day, and a low pressure tumbling in from the north with cold air wrapped in it. Wouldn't be surprised to see a big snow event for areas of Scotland and northern England for Christmas Day, potentially there. And look at the temperature contrast in the south. Wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of precipitation there in the south as well, which on its northern edge could fall as snow. So GEM not showing anything bitterly cold and blocked, or as cold as we have at the moment, but cold enough to produce something wintry. Yes, cold enough to be considered a cold Christmas, below average, frosty, yes, and a lot of precipitation here with lower pressure involved. So yeah, both GFS and GEM not showing anything sustained in terms of blocking like we had at the moment, where we've got colder air that's been in place for 2 weeks, but it is potential there for cold weather for a few days, maybe, and maybe longer if the high pressure gets going, and potentially for snow there as well with lower pressure involved. Now if we have a look at the ECMWF, see how that does compare. Again, you can see northerly wind at the moment, low pressure coming in from the southwest, northerly flow pushing in back in for next week, going quite cold, and that blocking to our north is a little bit more extensive, and you can see a northerly wind is pushing in, and we see low pressure coming up against it for Christmas Day. Again, could be a big snow event on that dividing line between the -5 isotherm and that milder air, somewhere across the Midlands perhaps, through Christmas Day. So all three runs are showing a generally colder than average Christmas, potentially cold enough for snow, especially in the north, and low pressure nearby, so showers or frontal snowfall is possible. So yeah, Christmas and again Christmas period is going to be shaping up to be very, very interesting, and the trend is for it to turn colder. The models are trending colder, so it could get colder than this over the course of the next few days. As we'll see in the ensembles in a minute, they are definitely a lot colder than they were this time yesterday or in the video yesterday. So definitely we are trending towards those colder scenarios. So we'll have to see what happens over the next few days. Of course, we're still 10 days out, so still is big uncertainty. We'd have to wait probably until Sunday, Monday time to have any more, to have sort of more certainty with this. But the potential is there. Now, after you finish the video, we're just having a look at the ensemble members. Again, these are the latest GFS ensemble members. Haven't fully run, but they go to the next 12 days, towards the 27th of December. So very cold in the next 2 days, turning much milder between the 19th and the 21st with big precipitation, and then turning much colder around the 22nd, down trending towards -2, -3, -4 degrees at 850 HPA. And you can see the GFS operational run there is very cold. Look at that, getting towards between -5 and -10 isotherm for around 5 days there, before Christmas to after Christmas as well. And the ensemble members are generally trending below average, so turning colder. Look at the new snow depth spikes. Snow is appearing for around the Christmas period, around the 24th to 26th there. Quite a few snow depth spikes. Again, we need to see those shore up in the short range, but the potential is there. Again, look at the dew points, more towards freezing around the Christmas period as well. So definitely colder air masses pushing in, and the 2-meter temperatures, regardless. Or if we see a bitterly cold air mass or snow, you can see generally they are cold, towards average, if not below average, with the ensemble mean around the 4, 5, 6 degree mark around the Christmas period, with many of the ensemble runs down towards freezing, include the operational run there, of course being pushed up though by maybe 5 to 10 milder runs, which you can't discount, but definitely are becoming more of a minority with every single ensemble run. Now, if you do compare it to the ECMWF, because of course it's important to have ensemble agreement between the different runs, you can see -5 isotherm at the moment, very cold, much milder for a couple of days, and then the ECMWF ensemble members from around the 22nd to the 26th are down towards that -5 line or in and around there. Yes, there are milder runs appearing for the last few days of December, trending us back towards average, but at least for 3 or 4 days there, we return to much colder conditions in time for Christmas. And again, anything down to the -5 line or below will be sufficient for snow. And of course, the ground is very cold at the moment. Yes, we're going to have mild weather, which will moderate it over the course of the next sort of week or so, but it won't completely take out all the sting of the colder weather we have had. So the ground is going to be much colder than normal. The sea surface temperatures are going to be much colder than normal. So it just means that generally we can sort of afford to have 1 or 2 degrees milder than, for example, a year ago when the lead up to Christmas was a lot milder. So yeah, we'll have to see exactly what happens with this, but definitely trending more towards colder conditions. As you saw from the operational runs, there is the potential for snow there, and we will start to have a look at precipitation charts if these patterns do continue, probably this weekend or into early next week. So yeah, turning much milder early next week, but it is going to be turning potentially colder after that, and potentially very cold as we head up to Christmas, with the potential at least for colder than average conditions, frost and fog, and generally sort of, a Christmassy feel, but potentially turning even snowy and properly cold with some of these runs today. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.